So tonight we have a very special host, Lori Knight, Executive Director, and she's going to talk to us about simplicity in our businesses. And she's got some amazing takeaways. I hope that you guys have a pen and a paper. You're going to leave here tonight with some awesome ahas, and we have Q&A at the end. So I hope that you guys participate in that too, and shout it out in the chat box if you have any questions for Lori while she's talking too. So Lori, go ahead and take it away.
Good evening, ladies, and I'm glad that you're all here this evening. Being on these speaks volumes about you. Already putting that effort forth in your personal business. I mean, it really shows that we're all here for a reason. So I wanted to touch base on some recruiting things because our $31 incentive is about ready to expire on the 10th. Now we can still recruit after that, but one thing that I can remember about when starting 31 was, now this is not, I've never sold anything before, like I was not in direct sales. I was in healthcare and I like helping others. So this was not in any way, shape, or form. If someone would have told me this is where I'd be, I would have hysterically laughed at them. So I, didn't know much about recruiting or anything. And so I really wanted to touch base on, if you are new or you haven't recruited yet, maybe you have a fear that you don't know, or you're not prepared to do that. That's not true, because sharing the opportunity, you have the support from your upline. You have a home office, and 31 today, we have those wonderful opportunity webinars now. And being new, especially, it is your time. And if you haven't, you can start. If you've lost your recruiting touch, that happened to me. I mean, we're all human. We all hit these bumps, and you can always hit that restart button. There's nothing holding you back but you. You have to be the one to ask, to feel comfortable and confident what you have to offer. If you're with 31, I think you love the product. I think you can agree with me when you say, I love the sisterhood. That's a huge thing to me. So feel confident in sharing that. And I think it was Kylie. She's on our team, and I don't think she's on here this evening. But, that was her fear. And that was what was holding her back, was she felt like it was selfish for her to want to sponsor. And that's so not true. I think it's selfish not to share, to be honest, because, it is an opportunity that is up to somebody that you're sharing it with, what they're going to do. It's up to them what they want to do with it. We're all different, and we all have different paths in lives, and we all change. So, don't fear that. And if you're brand new, learn with them. You can be your pacing partner, and that makes it even more fun, and have fun with it, and just be yourself. Being genuine and being yourself, you can't go wrong with that. There's just, you can't. So just don't hold that back. I want you to ask. I was telling the girls earlier today, I could think back when I started in 2010, and we had 31 today, but it was not nearly as wonderful as it is now. And I was nervous. I didn't like being up. I'm not a public speaker. I had sweat running down from my armpits, literally down my sides. Nervous. I felt like I was going to cry standing out in front of everyone, because I had no clue what I was doing. And I was talking to these ladies about wanting to earn this trip. That was my goal. It wasn't even really, leadership didn't really make that difference to me. I just knew I had to hit that to go on this free trip. And it is free, 100% free. It is free. So a lot of people are like, oh, well, no. I'm like, no, it's free. Plus, now I don't know about the cruise, because I've not, this is the first for that. But you feel like royalty And I don't know how else to tell you when you're on that incentive trip. So we can afford a vacation. So that was my reason why I was recruiting. One of them. The second was to share. My first recruits were some of my closest friends. I felt guilty submitting those parties and taking that money as a paycheck when I knew that they could use that money too. Tabitha, she's on here. She joined not long ago, but I knew she could use the income. And she kept giving me parties, and I thought, why not ask and give her that opportunity to tell me no? It's up to her. We can't think for others. We can't prejudge others. We can't assume that they're too busy or assume that, they would never want to do something like this because they don't like being up in front of people. I was not I never hosted parties. I hated being in front of people. So I was not your typical, and nobody asked me. I wanted to get someone off my back. That's why I joined. One of the reasons. So just be open-minded and ask everybody and do not prejudge. I'm sorry, back to where I was doing the Celebrate and Connect meeting. That's what they were called versus Better Together. And, one of the girls spoke up and she said, what, how are you recruiting? Like, what are you doing? How are you getting these recruits? And I said, well, I'm just asking them and sharing the opportunity, and not everyone tells me no. And one girl, she said, well, I just want to recruit. Can you give me some tips? And I said, well, who have you asked? Like, are you asking? She's like, well, I don't think I've really asked anyone. And I said, well, you have to ask. It's so simple, ladies. I was telling them, I don't have a magic wand. We didn't sprinkle pink glitter all over each other or 31 dust, we've been rejected. And as you do this journey, the more that you ask and the more you believe in it, the more comfortable you get that you have something awesome to give, the better and the more comfortable you get at it. And then if you fall off the wagon, like I did, you have to be passionate about what you do. You get back up on that and you see this beautiful opportunity and think of what it's done for you and your family. So think about what it can do for her. Ask her, and think of somebody, like if someone just had a baby, don't rule them out because they just had a baby. If somebody just lost their job, someone retired, maybe they're looking for that outlet to get, a form of community to meet new women. So ask everybody because you really honestly don't know, and it's an automatic no if you don't ask. So ways that you can ask, I wrote a couple things down. I'm not real scripty, so I'm kind of looking at my notes here. Is being intentional and focusing on her and let her know what quality you see in her. Like I have a friend that recently joined and she's a school teacher. She's wonderful at caring and nurturing and sharing. And, I saw qualities in her and told her, asked her if she's ever thought about joining 31. Years ago, she told me yes, but she didn't join, which is fine. We stayed connected and, again, we discussed it. So it's now her time. It's timing. It's not about they don't personally like us or, it's if it's not good for them now, write their name down, write the date down, stick it in your follow-up binder. If you don't have one, just make a simple one. And keep track of them so you can follow up with them again next time there's an incentive. And we should always be recruiting, but the incentives makes it easier of an opening for us to have a reason to share. So I feel like it's easier when we have that, more comfortable. So we already have something awesome to share, but for some reason that sharing that it's $31 just feels even, I don't want to say awesomer. I don't know if that's a word, but so the questions that you want to ask is, what excites you most about starting a 31 business? Or you can just say about starting and becoming a consultant. What would excite you the most? And then you ask, well, what concerns you mostly about joining 31? because we're not going to talk them into doing something they don't want to do. And you can, discuss her concerns. Maybe it is not being successful, the fear of letting you down as her sponsor, or her not being successful, or the fear of not getting parties. It's something simple that you can help her through, and work out a plan for her. So just focus on how it can help her and her family. And, don't forget you have that extra support from your 31 sisters. It's a wonderful community and home office, with these trainings they're doing. And after they join, you just talk to them about their start swells and what they can earn, because it can be a lot of news when they first start. But those relationships are huge, building those relationships. So just because they don't say no now, don't never ask them again, because it takes a few times. They say, like, I don't know, 10, what was it that we discussed? I don't have the numbers written down, but just remember that she's excited, she's nervous, she's getting all just like that. So what you're feeling, probably asking her, she's feeling that too. You are the professional, though. This is your career or hobby, but you're the experienced. And maybe you've submitted a party, maybe you haven't. And if you haven't, like I did when I joined, I said, you know what, I'm not real sure 100% everything I'm doing, but I have a good upline that can help us, and we'll figure it out together. And there's lots of videos on there, but it really is exciting when they succeed too, because man, it just feels so good when they succeed, and you see that self-confidence in them when they submit that first party, or when they get their first bookings. So just be intentional and ask. I mean, if you're not asking, you're not recruiting. I mean, it's just simple as that. So, and you're not asking them to take their child home for a week with you. You're asking them, you're offering the opportunity to try 31. Or have you ever thought about becoming a consultant? What do you think 31 can do for you? Could you use an extra $100 a month? Could you use what would you do with an extra $400 in income a month? So it's opening up a conversation. So don't walk in thinking, I'm going to go recruit, and they're going to say yes, I'm going to talk them into it, because, I mean, you can have that mindset if you want, but just be genuine and look at these ladies and think, who can I help here? Who can I help change their life? Who can I help from stop stressing over paying that extra bill, or to tell their daughter, no, I'm sorry, you can't go to dance lessons because, we don't have the extra income for that right now. So just think of that. There's not anybody here that would turn down, or anybody that I know that would turn down an extra income. So, I mean, think about it. So ask at your parties. And if you don't have a parties, like I was telling these ladies, I think of people outside of the party. Or I was telling them a lady that I knew, her daughter was in a bad situation. She was in a abusive relationship, staying in a shelter, getting in an apartment of her own, just had a baby, already had 2 children. And I thought, why don't I ask her if that would help her daughter, just to be surrounded by that sisterhood, that community, needing friendships and relationships, something to take her focus off of what she's going through. So she said to me, you know what, I don't think that she'd be interested right now, but I know my other daughter would. And so I'm like, oh, well, I didn't even think about her, but I didn't know she had quit her job and she was a stay-at-home mom now. And she wanted something extra to do, and she loves 31. And her mom's like, well, I'll be your best customer. And then you don't think to yourself, and don't be like, well, there goes that customer, because you're not going to, you're going to lose some, but you want them to go with your new sponsor, your business partners, what they become, because this fits their friends and family, and it's going to happen, and that's okay, because you're going to meet the next new person. And don't hold that back either. I feel like a lot of people do that. They hold back asking her because guess what? If she goes to somebody else's, like if she goes to Carrie Shoemaker's party and Carrie asks her, she's going to sign up under Carrie. Not only did I lose her as a customer, I lost that relationship with her and Carrie because I'm mad at Carrie. I'm mad at myself. Carrie's love. This is really happens. It's been almost 7 years for me now. I'm just telling you things I experienced. I've seen people experience, and I'm like, you can't be mad at me or her or anyone else because you didn't ask this person. It's so simple, and I don't know how else to say it. So if you're asking, you're going to eventually sponsor somebody. It's just a given. There's no way you're going to ask 10 people and everybody's going to be no. And it might be not right now, but doesn't mean not later. There's girls that, like the one I was telling you about, it's a year later and she signed up. I've had girls sign up. They've called me 2 years. I don't even remember who they are because it's so far back, and I sent them information, and after so long I will, just discard that information. So you never know. It's not your timing, ladies. It's their timing. It's just your time and your job to share and ask. So I don't even know what time we're at, Rachel.
You're doing great. So it's 8:47, and I can just tell you have such passion for that person, and that is what shines through so much, and that's why you are a consistent recruiter. And, it is such a personal business, and you really are taking the care and you're considering the needs of this individual person. You're not saying, okay, so who is going to come on my radar today, which is not a bad thing either, but you're saying, right, you know what, this girl has been in my life and she's been put here for a reason. And I'm gonna have a conversation with her today. And you know what? And I love that you said it's up to her to tell me no. Because it is her decision. It's up to her to tell me no. And, if I had never been asked to have a party or anything, there's no way I would have ever signed up, ever. Because I was like you, I was not a party person, period. Like, period, end of story.
That's how I was.
You asked me to go to any kind of party, I'm like, yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll see you there.
I'm not feeling well tonight. Yeah.
I think the kids are sick. No. But.
And I was that, girl too, and if I did go to a party, I did not want to make eye contact with that consultant because she's either going to jump all over me about booking, sneak attack me by telling me I booked a party. I have no clue how that happened. And I know you've all been there. Or, talk. She's up there talking and very forward, and I'm like, I could never do that. And throwing fake money around, saying stuff like this was hack. And just remember this girl at this party. I remember looking at her thinking, there's no way I could ever do that. But if she would have sat down and had a genuine conversation with me, I just might not have personally felt. If she would have said, oh, you could do that. You could sit down with them. You don't have to get up like I did that. I'm just more comfortable with that. Maybe she's done it in a while, because that's what I did, ladies. I would sit down at my parties. I'd sit down, and I still do. I would sit down at my meetings just because it was more comfortable for me than standing up. Like, I just wanted to be part of them. I didn't want to, stand out in any way, shape, or form. For some reason, it's just my personality.
Yeah.
So
ladies, just like what somebody's echoing. Is it me? Just like with what Lori said about asking her what your concerns are, I would encourage you guys to think of what your concerns are if you have concerns, and post those in the chat box or unmute yourself and ask us. So shout out what some of your concerns are around recruiting, and maybe we can work through those together too. Or maybe you're all rock star recruiters.
We'll see tomorrow morning.
Shout it out if you've recruited before in the chat box.
I always say, if you you summed it up perfect. Like, if you don't ask, somebody else will, and you just never judge. You just never know what that person is going through, and you just have to ask because, What did we talk about today? Get your
ass in gear.
That's right. And don't be afraid. Just I think that it comes sometimes with confidence, but it's also like if somebody didn't ask me, I wouldn't be here today, and I wouldn't have asked all the other people that I asked. And stepping outside of your comfort zone, and again, you just don't know, like you said, Lori, what that person is going through, and just be cool with it. Like just treat people the way you want to be treated, and sit down and talk to them and be real, and don't smother them, because that will just push them away, but respect them. Like just treat them like how you would expect it,
Right. So we do have some good questions.
Reading that.
Yeah. So Deanna asked, what if they say no? So what would you say to someone when they say no to you, Lori?
I appreciate that. Maybe you would like to host and earn some free 31 products and have a fun evening with your friends. And then if they still say no, just say, okay, well, if you ever change your mind, I'm always here for you.
Yeah.
Because that is the truth. And like Andrew said, if somebody else asks her, I hate losing a relationship. I feel like I've lost somebody. I mean, it's happened to me before, and when I first started, or I didn't ask fast enough. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe I mentioned it to her, but I didn't follow up with her in a timely manner. So that's important too, is following up. So don't take no personal.
Courtney asked, one of her concerns is people following through. So what would that?
You mean if they're a kidnapper per se, or following through by signing up?
Courtney, is that kind of what you mean? Like people following through being a kidnapper?
Maybe you can just talk.
Oh, no more signing up?
Sorry, I was trying to.
So if you...
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, more for following through after, you going through the process of introducing them to the company, getting them excited about it. They're saying they're going to sign up, and they're like, oh, I'll do it. And then it's like a day or a week goes by. Oh no, I'm definitely going to do it. That type of, you see
that's common.
Yeah. It's just generally interested, but you can see that there's like a little bit of a
delay.
Yeah, delay.
Courtney, for me, I like to make sure I get a date. Like I ask them, when's a good time for us to process your enrollment?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I'll do it on a lady's lunch break or a specific payday, and I'll actually write it in my calendar and block out 30 minutes to walk her through enrolling. Mm-hmm. And I'll send her a link right on Facebook usually, because it's the easiest way to do it, mm-hmm. and go straight to the enrollment page, and I will hold her hand through it if I need to. But I have found that if I don't get a date that when she's going to enroll, it just kind of sits out there for a while.
Okay. I like that idea. A date. That's good.
Yeah. And you can even ask, is there is there a concern that's holding you back, or something I can help you, mm-hmm. figure out? And like Carrie said, setting that date, just like having a party. Like if someone keeps saying, I'm going to book, I'm going to host the party, I'm going to host the party, and then you've got to get that date, and you've got to, and then if they still aren't going to get your date, aren't getting back to you, then I just keep following up with them, just keep them in my follow-up binder.
Mm-hmm. And then Janelle said, I don't want to be pushy or abuse my friendships.
She doesn't want to be pushy and lose her friendships. Is that what she's...
and abuse her friendships.
Oh, abuse her friendships. Well, Janelle, I'm not sure if did anybody ask you to join 31? She's bouncing her baby. No? No. Okay.
She's a girl. That was a legitimate concern for me when I first started recruiting too. And I honestly, I was kind of like Lori when I started recruiting. And I had other motives too. So for me, I was traveling 2 hours or more sometimes to my parties because I grew up in Vermont and I was living up by Lake Placid. So I tended to party at home. So I would go to parties at first, and I saw this trip too as the dangling carrot, but I would go to these parties and I would book 3 parties from every party normally because it's fun and exciting and people want to party. And I would kind of end it with, and by the way, I got all this stuff for free by enrolling. And you get more and more and more stuff when you sign up. And guys, I didn't pay for any of this. And we have 3 bookings tonight. Like, we have a business in a box, like a pretty pink box. Andrea, tell your husband to come say hi to us.
Come say hi.
And
this is my hot. Huh?
Hey.
hi.
And he's been on like over 4 or 5 trips with 31. So he can, if you need to talk to any of your hots or any of your bots, boyfriends of 31, he's the guy.
We should have a husband call one night.
We can, yeah.
For me, it was more out of necessity and want not to travel. And I saw these carrots dangling, and I'm like, you know what? If I can get a couple of those $100 bonuses, then that would be pretty cool. So I didn't think a whole lot about it, and I think that was to my advantage. I didn't really think about it at all, and I just saw this as, you know what? They have a business right here because they've got friends that like 31, so I might as well ask. And if I go home with 3 bookings on my calendar, then I have 3 bookings on my calendar, and that's awesome. But if I go home with a recruit and then I can coach her for these 3 bookings, then that's even better.
And she's gonna work up in the Vermont area, so you don't have that drive.
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly. Yeah.
And I think, too, as long as you're genuine and you're really asking from a genuine place, you're not just saying, join my team, like you're complimenting her, you're pulling out some of her, things about her personality, her attributes that are going to be beneficial to, being a consultant, that you're not being pushy if you're really truly being genuine and building that relationship. And it's okay for them to say no. Like, I've had girls tell me no and then a year later say yes, and it'll come up casually in conversation. You'll be like, now, why aren't you on my team again? You can just say little things that kind of help her to see the possibility of what this could mean for her life. And it could be where she makes a comment of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to pay for Christmas, or those little details that you can kind of say, you know what, I've got this little side gig that pays for all that and you won't have to worry about it. But as long as you're genuine and you're not like throwing up 31 on them, you'll be okay. And somebody asked about, said that they're in a home party slump. And I do, like, most of my recruiting does happen at the home party. But you could use this $31 kit to book you some home parties. And that may sound weird to say it like that, but if you start the conversation with the enrollment kit, because that's your lead in, you can be excited. Oh my gosh, we're going to get your number 1 selling product plus both specials for February and all the supplies you need to launch your business. Even if she says no to joining your team, you could lead into the next question, like Lori was saying, book a party. And if she's not into booking the party, you could still get a sale and have her get some cute little Easter baskets or something. So it's a lot of times it's just a process. And you could really use this $31 kit to actually book you some home parties. And that way, even if it's not right for her to join your team, there's probably someone sitting in her living room that it would be right for.
And then you ask for that too, like Janelle, I know some of my close friends when I first started say, look, I know that, this might not be of interest to you. I'm just having a lot of fun with it. And the income for me, I couldn't believe I could make money at this. Like, that's how I felt at first. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm having fun, So that was easy for me to share, but some girls aren't like that. So I would, and if they tell me, no, I'm not really interested in that, or I don't see myself doing that, then I would say, I can appreciate that, and do you know of anybody that can use some extra income, or that might, that's a very social person that would love and enjoy doing something like this? And our company is all about celebrating, encouraging, and rewarding. I mean, that alone, they give us so much. I've never been rewarded by any company for the work I have done like I do for from 31, and that is the honest to God's truth. So I'm sure you ladies can agree with that.
I still feel when I get a paycheck that I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is for real? Like, seriously? Like, this is so awesome. And I still feel like that every single time I get paid. I still feel this is amazing. I feel so blessed, and I seriously get to party for a living. And like, how can I not share? How can I not share that?
Right. How can you not share that? And then it's up to them whether they want to, and they could just try it. You know, it's okay if it doesn't work out for them. And I tell my girls that if it doesn't work out, just promise me you'll come back to me as a hostess or, you know, a customer. I do ask them that because sometimes that is the case. But I tell them you owe it to yourself to try this, especially if it's a book party and they've really rocked it.
Right. And you'll see too, you'll see the people shine through in your parties, in your when you're presenting. Some people will just get so passionate about a certain product and say, oh, I'm sorry, like, is it okay if I share this? Even online too, you'll have people that are commenting, if you're doing Facebook parties, that are commenting more than people would normally, or they'll share a picture of their product, or they'll go right online and find something on their wish list and share it. Those are the people that you need to, if they say no, at least keep building a relationship with. I'll share really, really quick, and I want you guys to ask some more questions too, because I think that this is a great conversation we're having. My downline senior director, Melissa Wilkinson, she's a rock star. She's amazing. And when I met her, I had just moved here from Lake Placid. I had just moved to Lake George, New York. That's where I live. And I went to the Y. I changed my seat, like all my seats, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm starting all over. I don't know what to do. Everybody has a consultant. Like, that's what it felt like. Everybody seemed to have a consultant. So I went to the YMCA and started this membership. And this girl was sitting next to me with a 31 bag. And I'm like, so that's a really cute bag you got there. She's like, oh yeah, I got that from my $1,200 party that I just had, and da 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 da. And I could have easily, guys, been like, okay, bye. And I didn't do that because I was also trying to make friends, and I am so huge on building relationships. So I just kept that relationship building, and once in a while she'd buy an extra special for me or something, and she was like my 31 person that I could vomit all over because I knew she had a consultant. I didn't have to worry about what I said to her because she had a consultant. She was safe. She was like a safe zone. And one day she called me up and said, Rachel, my consultant's not active anymore, and now it's time for my annual party. And I'm like, yes! So she has this $2,000 party, and literally I walked out of her house with 2 orders. I'm like, oh my gosh, this was a bust. I walk out of her house with 2 orders. She gets like $1,150 in orders, in catalog orders. And I told her, I said, Melissa, you just paid for my family's Christmas. I just made $500, and you literally put Christmas presents under the tree. And she's like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, seriously. And, you know, for your next party, and I was just planting the seed for your next party, you might want to consider doing this for your family's Christmas. And she called me up and said, Rachel, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to sign up, but I'm not going to do anything. I have a family life. This is not what I want to do. I am doing my thing. I've got 2 little kids, or she had 1 son at the time. And look at her now, you know, 2 years later, she's amazing. Just from not brushing her out of my life when she said, oh, I have a $1,200 party. I just had an awesome party. I love my consultant, you know? So you never know. Just by building those relationships. Like Lori said, it could be a year later, it could be 2 years later, it could be 3 years later. If you stay a consultant, and if you build those relationships, and if you are genuine, it's going to work out. All right, so what other questions do you guys have? Oh, you guys froze. Am I frozen? Did I lose you?
I guess I can see top screen. Okay. Because I think it's just Rachel that froze then.
I'm here now.
Oh, she's here now. Yay.
Everybody freeze. Ready, go.
Freeze frame. Maybe that's... But it's called Shifting Your Perspective, and it's by Martine Williams. And you've got to listen to that. There's a lot of things on, and I can share the link with your with our leader sisters on here so they can share it with you. But that is like an aha to watch it. I don't know if you ladies have watched or listened to Shifting Your Perspective by Martine Williams. And she talks about like recruiting antennas. And you should always I have these pink pigtail like headband. I can't find the prop. I think my daughter has them hidden. I call them recruiting antennas. So you're listening to conversations and you're picking up on different things. If they're asking you about how many times a month you do this, or, you know, how far away you drive to party, they rarely ask me how much I make, but anything that they're asking about your business or about 31 is huge. Like that is there's a reason they're not just asking just to shoot the breeze, you know. I mean, they really are wanting, there are things they're going through their head about it. They can, when I say, can you picture yourself doing this? And they can visualize themselves. And that's why I will look through the catalog with them. I can't remember the price of everything. Large utility tote, that's about it. But I mean, some prices change. There's new things, new patterns, new names of products. And I can't remember anything. So I will have them look through, because if you make it look too robotic, you know, it doesn't look duplicatable. Maybe it doesn't, not realistic that they could do that. So don't worry about acting like a fool or looking like a fool, because we're all human. Even when you ask somebody, you know, and to share the opportunity and they tell you no, ask if they know anybody else that could use this, that you would like to help somebody. Really, I mean, I would like to help somebody, you know, benefit from 31 like I have.
Awesome. Well, Lori, you're amazing so much. I love your perspective, and I thought you did a great job.
I appreciate that.
Does anyone have any last questions for Lori or for any of us?
No, and I really appreciate, Lori, you just sharing, you know, what works for you, because it's genuine. It comes from your heart and it's real life. Like everything that you shared, it's things that, you know, the trials and the tribulations in your business. And it's authentic because it's real, because you walk the walk, you know about how it's all happening and how it all works. You know, you take the good and the bad, and we're here teaching you because we already went through it. So how cool is that, you know? So thank you.
We've had the missed opportunities. I mean, I know that you know, don't let our titles, I mean, we've had missed opportunities. That's why we know to tell you to ask everyone.
I think we've had the most, because you have to go through so many to get one. You know?
I'll actually share something really quick and fast. I know the time is ticking, but when I first started, I was a kid snatcher. I had no intentions of ever selling it. And I remember I was at one of my first parties, and somebody came up to me and they're like, I actually want to sign up. I want to do what you do. I'm like, listen, I don't really plan on doing this. I'll lead you to somebody that you can sign up under. And I actually led them to somebody that they signed up under that person. And that person is now a director. So talk about kicking myself in the butt. But I didn't know. I was so new. That's why you share and ask and know that we have an upline that will support you and the direction you need to go. And again, just share and ask all around, and never say no to anybody, because you just never know what happens, the journey of your 31 business and the direction it can follow. And
don't compare yourself and tell yourself, I can do this. I can sponsor. Why wouldn't I? Ask you. I mean, seriously, ask yourself that right now. If you aren't sponsoring, why don't I sponsor? What's holding me back? Why am I not sharing this wonderful opportunity? Seriously, ask yourself that, because I can't think of an answer, but if you can, then, you know, reach up to your leader and work through that, because we really do have an amazing opportunity lying in front of us. And I guess my nature of helping other women, it's up to me to offer, just like we talked about waitressing one call, you know, to offer that dessert. And if they don't want it, that's fine. But next time they come to eat, I'm going to ask them again because it's a whole new day. It's a whole different appetite. You just never know. Just stay positive and genuine. You can't go wrong with that.
No, exactly.
It's usually fear, ladies, that keep you from really making those booking calls, offering the opportunity. And, it's one thing to not offer to give some lady some free stuff by hosting, but if you're really not offering or asking, I mean, you could be robbing her kids of, the school that they've been dreaming of. You could be robbing her of being able to pay off some medical debt. And don't let fear stop you from making an impact in someone else's life.
That's awesome.
That's great, Carrie. Yes.
Here, you need to write that down. You remember what you just said?
No, what's wrong with it, girls?
I recorded it.
We say so many things, sometimes we don't even know what we said. Wow,
it's so true, though.
Ladies, thank you so much for joining us again. You are investing in yourselves, and it really does show, like what Lori was saying. So thank you so much, and thank you for letting us share with you too.
I love it, Courtney. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Lori. You're amazing. And ladies, if you have any questions, just reach out to us. And do you have any last words, Lori, for us?
No, just keep showing up Tuesday nights. I love seeing you. Joy and Deanna and Courtney and Janelle, they're the ones I can see on the right now on my screen. But and if you have kids like Janelle with the kids, we all have kids. So if you have your kids, just mute it. It's okay.
Yeah, Courtney.
Don't miss
We're
out.
the boys.
Just be yourself, and this journey's different from everybody. So enjoy the ride, ladies. Make it the best one.
Thank you, ladies. Have an awesome night.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.